Today is the auspicious occasion of the Teachers' Day, which is observed, to celebrate Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan's birthday. All of you know, as we all know actually, that Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan was born on 5th September. And his to acknowledge his leadership qualities, to enhance the quality and systematic improvement of not only Indian education system but also the global education nucleus. We all celebrate this particular day as Teachers' Day, the 5th September. Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan was not only a great philosopher, he was also a great teacher, a university teacher, a college teacher, and a teacher of the human science and the human environment. And we all know what kind of what kind of delicate intuition Dr. Radhakrishnan had within himself. He had such a keen sense of intellect that he could understand the crying need of the independent India at that time. Even before 1947, his role as a pioneer of safeguarding or steering forth the Indian education system and the flourishing of the child mind within the Indian environment was the prime focus of Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan. We all know that right from the beginning he was a meritorious student. He was an extraordinary meritorious student. We all know when the setting sun with all its crimson, all the crimson rays of the setting sun, used to fall on this earth. Dr. Radhakrishnan's mind used to catch those crimson rays of the setting sun with a mesmerizing light of certain, of a kind of deeper meditation, and and he used to analyze those natural phenomena in light of his prime knowledge of the Vedantic philosophy, in the light of his knowledge of different religious scriptures like the Buddhist, the Tripitaka, the Buddhist, greatest religious scripture, the Holy Quran, the Muslim, the Mohammedan's religion, the Gita, the Veda, the Upanishad, and all these fundamental truths, and and the Bible, the Holy Bible also. Dr. Radhakrishnan's philosophic insight had synchronized all the delicate and the prime essences, of all the different kinds of religious decorums and most importantly, the inner essence of all diverse religions. And that's why when Radhakrishnan's Vedantic philosophy had written that great Vedantic philosophy, that Vedantic philosophy didn't only summarize only the mainstream of Hindu religions, of the knowledge of the Gita and the Upanishads. Within Vedantic philosophy, he could analyze, that the main essence of the ultimate governing principles that motivate and that control and regulate the total education system and the total and the collective nucleus of this entire global system. So within Dr. Radhakrishnan, we don't find a meritorious boy in the making right from since the beginning of his childhood. All also a great observer of this, of this fundamental essence of this great source of nature. We actually want to, focus deep into the inner essence of the, of our inner soul that can express the fundamental and hidden truths that come out of the surface level realities. The surface level realities don't betray the exact truth. The real truth comes out of the hidden meaning, out of the hidden essence of our inner soul, and that manifests the reality. And you just see, when we see, you can understand, when you look at the sky, this limitless infinity, we can understand how diversified and how intensifying this total universe is all about. To replicate that in Rabindranath Tagore's language, আকাশ ভরা সূর্য তারা বিশ্ব ভরা প্রাণ তাহারি মাঝখানে আমি পেয়েছি মোর স্থান বিস্ময়ে তাই জাগে আমার প্রাণ। অ্যাকচুয়ালি কি গাবো আমি, কি শোনাবো আজি এ আনন্দ ধামে, and আনন্দ ধারা বহিছে ভুবনে, and really that's the truth. This fundamental flow of joy is everywhere in this nature. This nature is sometimes hostile, both the nature within ourselves, the environmental, even the storm, not only in the natural storm that crops up off and on in our natural system, but also the storm that develops within the society, the social storm, and the storm that develops within our inner soul, that manifests itself in relation to that vast eternity. All of a sudden I can recollect a real beautiful poem of Octavio Paz, Mexican poet, another Nobel laureate, Brotherhood. There he could systematically analyze how all of us, all of our inner existence are captured within the framework of the internal bond of this, of this universal brotherhood and fraternity. You can understand that all of us, even the meanest of the meanest creatures, you cannot leave them out. The other day I was teaching the class 10 students the fable and the mountain. There also I analyzed in my article in our school journal also, that all, even the meanest of the meanest creatures, be it a pebble or a mountain, be it the greatest of the greatest cosmos, the stars, or the meanest of the meanest little insect over here in this petty little art, everything is captured within the global, within the universal system, and not a single atomic part can be left out without and whenever we intend to leave it out, the total system tumbles down. So the Almighty has really maneuvered the entire system in a way that brilliantly replicates the totality of the system. We are the human beings. When we look at, that's why I was talking about a little bit earlier, when Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan was, right from the beginning, he has had a philosophic bent of mind right from the beginning. And what is philosophy? Philosophy is actually nothing but to explore the ultimate truth out of the surface level, ornamentations. The surface level ornamentations, all that glitters, are not gold without the common proverb we know. So, in order to understand the gold out of the surface level glitterings, we have to delve deep into the inner realities, into the inner essences. And that's what makes the surface level reality even more magnifying. And that's what Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan exactly did. Even in his Vedantic philosophy, even when Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan analyzed Rabindranath Tagore's philosophy, you can understand what he had done. He didn't want to he didn't want to, he didn't dare rather to analyze Rabindranath Tagore. Through Rabindranath Tagore, actually he just concentrated on the text, and whatever he had found within that, he just projected into the into his life. He just included everything into his texture, into the texture of his writing, and that proved to be an extraordinary art. Not isolating Rabindranath Tagore, but still, actually, when he analyzed Rabindranath Tagore's philosophy or Gandhi's philosophy, Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy, what he did, he took the core substance of their philosophizing, but what he had done actually reached far beyond something what was there within their philosophy. He actually fused those thinkings of Rabindranath Tagore, their philosophic meditations, and also that of Mahatma Gandhi. Truth, what did Mahatma Gandhi speak about? Mahatma Gandhi, truth is God, God is truth. Non-violence is God, and that is God is truth, truth is God. Gandhi didn't separate truth from God. Gandhi always believed that whatever is truth, that stands equivalent to God. And also in Rabindranath Tagore's philosophy, and to replicate John Keats, as I have to, beauty is truth, truth beauty, that is all in one heart, all you need to know, as Keats beautifully replicated in Keats's Ode to an Ordinary Christian Aunt, through which he summed his entire documentations of that, of that great odes, that for which Keats is even today known to be one of the best 5 poets ever born to this beautiful world, across all kinds of language and literature. So, Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan's, we all know his biography, what he had achieved. He was the President of India. He also he became first the Vice President of India, then the President of India. He was the ambassador to different big nations. He was also a statesman. Philosopher, educationist and statesman. As a statesman, as a politician, as an ambassador, as a president in a crucial standing at a crucial time, he didn't hesitate to go into conflict face to face with the then Prime Minister of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, a great scholar with dynamic personality. You can understand. But Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan's openly criticized Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru for not understanding the massive Chinese power at that particular time, and sharply criticized Jawaharlal Nehru that we should get into conflict only after, we should get motivated into only after analyzing the enemy's strength. And that's where even Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru understood his blemishes. And in 1962 what happened? We lost lots of our motherland, lots of our territory to Chinese aggression. We couldn't defend. We should have displayed even fundamental aspects of political thoughts, diplomacy. What missed out at that time? And Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishan was such a dynamic personality. Without hurting Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister, he criticized his stance that without understanding the Chinese massive strength, and without having the real support from which ultimately is Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's daughter, our greatest Prime Minister of all time, I must say, even till now, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, the way he maneuvered a kind of skilled relationship and a diplomatic with the then Soviet Union, Brezhnev Soviet Union and other Soviet, and actually that turned the equation into our favor. The way Mrs. Indira Gandhi did, we could easily divert America, China, and Pakistan. We were able to attain a convincing and decisive victories. But see, even today, if we analyze even today, and in 2023, in 2020, since 2020, since the arrival of the coronavirus pandemic, China has already captured many, many miles, square kilometers of our land in Ladakh and in elsewhere. And we couldn't, we cannot just, blind, we cannot just, be blind to the real fact. And we cannot say China hasn't captured our land. No, it's not true. The truth is that China has already, since 2020, China has captured lots of our sovereign territories. And even today, achieving so much of power, just understand, Mrs. Indira Gandhi's time of 1967, 71, and now it's 2023. We have been able, we are the third country to land, to reach our, to reach our missile into, to space, space aircraft into, well, not aircraft actually, space machinery into moon, into the south pole of the moon like that, where no country has been able to attain that kind of, and we are the third country to do so in totality of the scheme. So we have achieved a lots of power, and our space, ISRO has also already launched its another kind of satellite to explore the sun itself. So we are lots and lots of advanced nation right now. But see the difference. Even today, despite our lots of military achievement, our despite our having all those greatest aircraft from France, Rafale, and all these things, Tejas we have maneuvered, and lots of American weapons, Russian weapons. China is daring to occupy our land, and we are proving to be, already we are proving to be a coward nation, not being able to oust China from the territory that they possess. It's not the teaching of Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. Even Mahatma Gandhi said that the principle of non-violence is not the weakness of our nation's character. It is the strength. And if I am to, Dr. Mahatma Gandhi said and renunciated, if I have to choose between, violence and cowardice, I would better choose violence rather than cowardice. Cowardice cannot be the weapon of any nation. It's next to slavery. And we are doing just that at this time. Sorry to say that. Despite lots of innovation, why can't we stop the Chinese dragons from occupying our territory? Why can't we oust them? Our 145 crore Indians are ready to have a go over the Chinese dragons. We have lots of resources. What we need is to establish a solid relationship. See the irony of our political relationship at the moment, the international relationship. We are maintaining a very good strategy of keeping away ourselves from the, from Russia, Ukraine, while from NATO and Russia. We are maintaining an equal distance from both, because we are not convinced about, our Indian state personalities have done, to my mind, have taken up the right thing, not entirely yielding us to American bloc or NATO bloc, because we have already seen what America can do. They can, our blind adherence to American, hegemony may backfire us at any time, because America can never be reckoned as a real friend. On the other hand, we cannot also be, the political scenario right in 2020 is not like that prevailed, in 1967, 1971. Where Soviet Union has already become a strong and inseparable unit of Chinese alliance. So if we have to go into conflict with China, we cannot totally depend on, so we can max to max. What we can do to prevent Soviet Union, Russia at the present moment from taking a direct war at us along with China. But even if the war goes into a different dimension, who knows? Russia can go against us, taking side of China, given the political scenario at the time. So we have to be we have to frame a political, outlook and diplomatic planning where we can on our own, with countries like France, Japan, and more reliable friends. We have to choose that can afford us, Iran and certain other countries that can really help us fight against the Chinese dragon. Because I'm totally Because even now I'm speaking, even at this point, America, United States of America can never be our friend, critical friend at any point of time, given the history of American history. See the condition in Afghanistan. What happened there? America had done everything possible to, everything. And when it mattered most, they just sold all their weapons to the Taliban and left that country, leaving the women and the innocent children struggling there in Afghanistan. And there was no country except Bangladesh that protested against them. So, we cannot heavily rely on, what did. So it means that in Afghanistan, America just, plundered certain wealth from Afghanistan and made a business out of it. So American friendship is not a trusted. So given that point, if we again come back to our point of on this historic Teachers' Day, what I would like to point out is that, Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan always believed that we have to have a terrific strength on our own. We have to give extraordinary stress on our on the food on our nutritional values of our children. We have to develop lots of money of our GDP on health issues, on our infrastructural issues, on certain creative issues, on science and all that. That will develop our children's body physically and mentally, and we will have an indigenous technique that will be difficult to challenge for other countries, for other big nations. And we have to frame a solid international policy, keeping in mind that we cannot at this point of time neither rely on Russia or America, USA, or only on one level, because China is our prime concern, not Pakistan. We can deal with Pakistan as we have seen. So to divert our notions from China, we can attack Pakistan, but that's not the solution. Pakistan is not the threat to our sovereignty. Chinese dragons are the real threat, and we have to be sensitive about that. And we have to prepare, delicately to keep a strong response to China, because China is the real threat to our sovereignty at this moment, and to the existence of the 145 crores Indians. Back to the point, Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, what a man he was. We can understand that Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, even when, as I was telling today, even in my lecture, in my speech here in Deshbandhu Vidyapit, before the students and my colleagues, and certain guardians were there. You can understand that Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, gave us a real notion that no human beings, no human child can be categorized either as a Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian or something else. Actually, it is we are all actually part of the bigger sense. If suppose I am born, my name is Manoj, but the same person if I am born to a Muslim family, even in the child essence, out of knowledge of others, if I am replaced with some Mohammedan boys or Christian boys or Buddhist boys, my name would be accordingly like, in Muslim family, it could have been Manoj to, what I would say, anything Muslim name was, who like that anything. Or even in a Christian family, it will be John like that. In a Buddhist family, like the Chinese name and all like that. So, John, Manoj or Ajar or like that, anything you can say. Same man, the same child, put into different environment, takes different names. Ultimately, we are the same creatures, same our blood, all of our blood, color of our blood is red. So we are actually the same human mind. We get cultivated in different systems. So fundamentally, there is no real difference between people and people. All the differences, based on caste, community, and superstitions and all that, are very, very narrow-centric fragmentations. We we don't belong to any religion particularly. We are human child. That Jesus Christ, gave his, lessons to. And that is exactly how Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan analyzed Jesus Christ's Bible, biblical philosophy. And he equated that, synchronized the biblical philosophy and Holy Quran's thoughts or thoughts of Vedas and Upanishads into the fundamental essence of the Mother India's nature. That Mother India is certain fertile land that always accepts whatever positivity comes from outside the West or elsewhere from the world. We are not the country to live out the best that comes from the outside our soil. We accommodate and we accept everything that comes in the positive sense, and the positive thoughts, or the positive substances, whatever that comes from outside. The Western countries be it, whatever from any part of the global community, wherever from it may come, from whichever scripture, maybe from Holy Quran, maybe Bible, maybe Tripitaka, or wherever from it, we are always ready to incorporate that into our main system, Mother Indian system. That's why we are a proud Indian nation. Distinctly different from other sectarian or religion-based nations. That's the ultimate identity of our mother nations. We have to keep in mind that. And at the same time, what I would say, I was going to tell Dr. Sarvapalli, what a dynamic personality he was. You can understand, even when that I was telling, even in today's speech before my students and colleagues, that even when he had gone to Soviet Union, at that particular time when Stalin was the leader of the then United Soviet Socialist Republic, that Soviet Union, he went in there with a book, the anti-communist book, The God That Failed. He didn't hesitate he didn't want to hide that, and didn't make the pretension about, and he openly criticized accepting the core fundamental positivities of the communism and Marxist philosophies. He criticized that ultimately even within the Marxist mechanism, there should be a human essence, there should be certain spiritual element that makes the sculpture, that incorporates into the sculpture a living essence. Because the skeleton without life cannot be a living essence. So Marxist philosophy is the proletariat philosophy, the philosophy that I personally always accept as the ultimate of philosophy to my mind. But still, on that particular ground, we have to accept how beautifully Rabindranath Tagore and Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan pointed out that only a skeleton without flesh and blood, our spiritual thoughts, if we cannot, our spiritual thoughts, our acquisition of knowledge from our predecessors, down the ages, all these things, our lineage to our prehistoric time, the fundamental essences. How can we understand the depth of those beautiful religion? So that is the fundamental thing we have to understand, and that's why even before Stalin, he said that within within the Marxist philosophy, there should be a certain bit of flexibility. There should be a certain bit of incorporation of certain spiritual elements, not prejudices. Spirituality is always something different from prejudices and superstitions. Spirituality is the concretized forms of progressive and dynamic knowledge. So that is the ultimate reality we have to understand. And and that's exactly, and even Stalin, what Stalin said, I have already said, that this man, I have a great respect. Stalin said openly in front of his Politburo members, in front of the of his party Politburo members and the Central Committee members, that this man, addressing Dr. Sarvapalli, is a different kind of ambassador. He is not an ordinary ambassador. This man speaks from the bleeding heart. That means whatever Dr. Radhakrishnan said was his felt thought. What he didn't feel, he didn't say. What he felt, he said only. Sometimes in our society, we say something that we don't feel, and we feel something that we don't say. And that's the difference of, we like ordinary people and Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. Therein lies the ultimate difference. Dr. Radhakrishnan only preferred to speak only those things that he used to feel. So whatever he had actually spoken was his felt thought. And that's the reality of Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. And that I have already pointed out how many things I would be, and even today, this is a beautiful day, 5th September, Teachers' Day. I'm not going to extend my speech anymore because there was lots of program by our teachers, by students mainly, and beautiful kind of dance dramas were staged. Samaresh, Shattoki and all our teachers beautifully inaugurated the Suchayan Bandyopadhyay. They beautifully arranged the program. It was a beautiful program. So our little students, sang, danced, and they recited beautifully, and all these things. So it was a fantastic program. But one thing I would like to say here, that even today, in this particular point of time, in this Teachers' Day, I would like to recollect all my teachers with whom I gathered my knowledge. So if I have to do that, I have to go back to my childhood days in Sundarban, Goshaba, Vipradaspur. There, Ashraf Ali Mullah, whom we used to call Oparen Master Moshe. But there was a river, and he used to come from Bartoli, Patankali, through a boat. At that time, that's Opar. But in this, at the opposite side of the river, we used to stay, and our primary school was just 2 minutes away from our house, and he used to come, from there, and even that Ashraf Ali Mullah Opar said that teacher used to stay in our house during the tiffin period, every day almost, and used to come. So much cordial relation we have. He used to love me always. Subodh Babu, Subodh Chandra Mondol, he used to love me so much, so I can still understand. He was a math teacher on mathematics, beautifully gave me all kinds of teaching. Just like a son, beloved son, he used to love me, Subodh Babu. And I don't know whether he is still alive or not. I give my heart's homage and pranam to, and my kaku, my own uncle. He was the headmaster, Ashokendra Chattopadhyay. He was the headmaster, my uncle. He was the headmaster of that school. I also give my pranam to all of them three. And then I went into, I got myself admitted in Vipradaspur High School, 5 to 10. Lots of teachers there. How many I would name? Our headmaster Moshe Hajarilal Mondol, he is no more. Harendra Lal, assistant headmaster, he is no more. My own father, late Bimalendu Chattopadhyay. He was, my father was a famed philosopher and guide to me. He was such a lovely, dynamic personality. He was a Marxist to the core, but at the same time, he was a very, very sensitive mind. Despite his allegiance to Marxist philosophy, and as a Marxist party member of higher level, he never compromised with anything unjust or dictation, that dare to come from the high level of the party or party regime. He always challenged those things because he was fundamentally a very good man. That was his past and, foremost identity. My father, led Bimalendu Chattopadhyay. And, even Gunodhar Mondol, he is the Guno Babu, Jagannath Babu, Sunil Babu, and Prabhas Babu, and how many, Beni Babu and others, Amal Babu and all of them, and so many teachers, how many name I would be taken. But Guno Babu was my to my best teacher. He was a lovely, versatile genius, and the way he used to teach us science and mathematics, it's unforgettable. He was a lovely person, a real friend of the students, and a real guide of the students, the way he loved Amitabh Upadhyay, he is no more English teacher, with whom I developed. Unfortunately, he is no more. He died in a premature age. I can recall him also even today. They are all great teachers. And in my honors, when I came into honors level, only one, there are so many teachers, but whose connection I would be I would never ever be able to forget is Dr. Shaurindranath Bose. He was the departmental head of North Bengal University at one time, and then he came to join as head of the department at Habra Sri Chaitanya College. I used to develop a very family relationship with him, Dr. Shaurindranath. He was a terrific person, versatile in Bengali, English, and a philosophic insight. I don't know whether he is alive or not. I pay my homage to his daughter Mimidi, and I pay my respect and pranam Mimidi, Kakima, and Dr. Shaurindranath Bose. I hope he is still alive. I don't know. I'm not sure. His influence and impact I would never ever be able to forget, even till the last drop of my mind. And then in the university lab, lots of teachers with whom I had in Bardwan University, and then B.Ed college and MPhil level and PhD guy. MPhil and PhD guy in university lab, lots of teachers. Professor Ashok Hui, a great teacher of linguistics, Lakshminarayan Gupta, Dr. Mrs. Anima Biswas, and certain others, Mohit Roy was a great scholar, and what I would say, another a very, very friendly teacher. We used to be a Narendrapur Ramakrishna Mission lecturer also, Pikasi, he was also, and others, so many other teachers, some of the Rama Kundu, she was also beautiful lecturer, and their wisdom, but above everyone else, whose loving bond was a source of inspiration to me, was none other than my MPhil guide, Dr. Devnaran Bandyopadhyay. He was the American Center Secretary and Australian Center Secretary of the India level and even of the global level periphery. He happens to be an international personality. He is still alive. Certain 1 month or 1.5 months back, I used to talk to him also. I have had a motivation to meet him. I don't know whether it would be materialized or not, but still, he really guided me. Lots of he proved to be a lots of inspiration to my to me. And then Dr. Devnaran Bandyopadhyay. He is he even in times of crisis he stood by me. I wish even today from here that he should be living in proper conditions, and he should be living a very, very happy very, very happy and peaceful life, I'm sure. And and he happened to be Vice Chancellor of Bankura University also, few days, even few months before, possibly not now. But so, all these things, even in B.Ed college, Diamond Harbour B.Ed college, how can I forget those things? And even in Bardwan University, some others, who was the clerks, in the clerical post. I recollect their faces, but can't recognize their names. They had also a terrific kind of impact on our lives. The way in schools and colleges also, and and everything. So even today, right at that point of time, before giving a conclusion to my today's lecture of the Teachers' Day, what I would like to point out, that Teachers' Day is only a phenomenon. Today is the day when we should be inspired with Dr. Radhakrishnan's philosophy, that standing at this time when sectarianism, parochialism, and all that kinds of violence are cropping up between community, religion, between diverse, based on certain false identities, people are getting into conflicts with each other. We have to rely heavily on the principles of Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan's. We don't have to, we shouldn't be depending too much on outside characters. we are basically the sons of gods. Our legacy comes from heaven. So we should be basically maybe focusing on the inner truths. The outside decorum is really nothing compared to the inner substances, which really differentiates us one from the other. That's the reality which we always should be focusing on. So, with all these things, there are many things to, in my, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, Sister Nivedita, Netaji Subhash Bose, Acharya Jagadish Chandra Bose, Mother Teresa, Matangini Hajra, and every Raja Rammohn Roy, Vidhan Roy, Einstein, Kaji Nazrul, P.C. Rai, and all, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Kaji Nazrul, Bhagat Singh, Shelley, Ravi Shankar, and Ma Sharoda, Aravind Rishi Arabindu, Deshbandhu Chittaranjan Das, on whose name our school is founded. This is the real press where we can really, this is the day from where we should be focusing on to understanding and exploring the inner essence of our art, rather than putting too much stress on outside reality. We should not be hankering after wealth and fame and all those external things. We should be only focusing on the inner truths. That is the reality. That is the reality. When you understand the heart, when you understand the inner reality, all the other things blossom up. So just like a lotus, blossoming up its petals. So also, when you can understand and discover our inner potential, the rest of the things automatically and invariably follow. So, we have to understand that we are human beings. We have to understand in the language of Rabindranath Tagore, the religion of man, Manusher Dharma. All other things are really, subservient to this prime essence. We may be university teachers, Oxford scholars and all those things, and doctors, engineers, and FRCS and all those things. But to my mind, that counts hardly. If your inner heart is rotten, if your inner heart cannot understand the fundamental sorrows and sufferings of the toiling masses all over the world, if your eyes don't open up to the terrible sufferings due to caste differences between the rich haves and the have-nots, then all these external decorations don't count much. So that's the reality we have to understand. We have to understand with pranam to Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan's The Religion of Man of Rabindranath Tagore. And to my mind, that's the thing Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan wanted us to, follow and accept from within. With pranam to Dr. Chattopadhyay Radhakrishnan. For today, there are lots and lots of things to say, but my energies has been exhausted over the day, and so I conclude. But in the next portion, I will be reciting a poem and certain and 2-3 songs to honor and extend my respect and reverence to Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan and to all my colleagues and to all my teachers down from my fundamental the primary levels to the highest levels, all the teachers, lecturers, professors and all. I extend my pranam and heart wishes all to all my friends, whoever are there everywhere, extending my good wishes to all without exception. I draw a conclusion to this speech of today. Just a few minutes after, I would be reciting a poem which I have recited today here, and 2-3 songs, and then I will be extending. So this is the end of the first portion.